Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the midday market madness. I'll just pull up my screen really quick because we need to get into it. Look, everything is green. I'm just kidding. I'm sorting it by the things that are actually working in my watch list. Most things are actually, at least in the tech space, getting absolutely killed. So that sucks. This is another one of those days. Deep pain in the markets. Okay. This is where people potentially are getting a little bit fearful if they're in the wrong names, potentially in the wrong options, potentially in the wrong amount of margin. It can also be a time where people end up looking to, start getting into margin. Be careful with that as well. Okay. I know that things comparatively to about a month or so ago seem extremely cheap, but if this is a broader based sort of sell-off in tech, things can definitely get worse. Now, I do want to bring up, however, that the SPY, let's just bring up the SPY, down roughly 1%, QQQs down roughly 2.3%, showing that this is more tech focused in terms of its sell-off rather than the broader market. And in fact, if we actually bring up the SPY at $682, and then we end up actually backing out over the last, 3 months, 1 year, 5 years. Let's go back to the last month chart, though. The high was 697. Sorry, 697. Sorry, 697. Geez, I can't read. We ended actually breaking the 7,000 mark on the S&P, which Trump celebrated, but that was essentially the exact top. And then after that, we continued to fall, but this is not really that much of a sell-off, roughly 2% from its overall highs. Okay. The reason is that if we end up going and looking at a heat map of what the heck is going on, this is extremely tech focused. Okay. Semiconductors down 5.2%. Semiconductor equipment, 6.8% sell-off. Aerospace and defense down 3.5%. Capital markets down 3.5%. Biotechnology's down 1.8%. It's Cathie Wood's nightmare. Okay, everything that has to do with computers and technology are down, roughly 8+%. Let me drop the chat off screen. But it's not all red. This is not a sea of red. There's actually a lot of things doing very well. Whenever you take a look at, what's the impact of overall artificial intelligence, are people worried about the beverage industry or the restaurant industry or the insurance industry, for example? Right? These things are not dropping all at the exact same time. There is some rotation away from tech into things like regional banks and things that people maybe feel like are not as in the target of artificial intelligence. Okay. So we will, I personally am going to continue to buy software. Okay. As a quote that I ended up making up yesterday on my own, no one else gave me any advice on this quote. This is essentially, search is dead 2.0, like what happened with Google. I think that that's exactly what we're going to see here. And you guys can go ahead and quote me on that. That was my quote. You don't have to go back to yesterday's stream to double check that. Let's go ahead and listen to Jensen Huang talk about how he feels about sort of broader software sell-off. I don't know what you guys are talking about. Gravy salad. That makes no sense. All right. Shout out to Gravy Salad. Yeah, no, it was his quote. All right. Let's go have a listen.
You just give us your top of mind on physical AI.
Remember what software is. Software is a tool. There's this notion that the software industry is in decline and will be replaced by AI. You could tell because there's a whole bunch of software companies whose stock prices are under a lot of pressure because somehow AI is going to replace them. It is the most illogical thing in the world, and time will prove itself. Let's give ourselves the ultimate thought experiment. Suppose we are the ultimate AI, artificial general robotics, the ultimate AI, the physical version of us. Mm-hmm. You could, of course, solve any problem because you're humanoid. You could do things. If you were a human or robot, would you use a screwdriver or invent a new screwdriver? I would just use one. Would you use a hammer or invent a new hammer? Would you use a chainsaw or invent a new chainsaw? Just don't. First of all, ideally, they don't use it at all. But do you understand what I'm saying? If you were a human or robot, artificial general robotics, would you use tools or reinvent tools? The answer, obviously, is to use tools. And so now do the digital version of that. If you were a artificial general intelligence, would you use the tools like ServiceNow and SAP and Cadence and Synopsys? Or would you reinvent a calculator? Of course, you would just use a calculator. That's the reason why the latest breakthroughs in AI is what? Tool use. Because the tools are designed to be explicit. There are many problems in our world where F equals MA. Please, could you please not come up with another version? FA is not kind of MA, it's just MA. Do you guys, Ohm's law, V equals IR, it's not kind of IR. Approximately IR, statistically IR, it is IR. Okay, do you understand what I'm saying? And so I think we want the artificial general robotics, artificial general intelligence to use tools.
I mean, some people are saying weak analogy. I think, it wasn't the greatest analogy. I agree with you. I don't think that people are more worried about them recreating the tools. I think that they're more worried about the margin that they could sustain if the possibility of those tools being recreated is a possibility, right? Now, that being said, you go through the history of Jensen Huang's career and you find the predictions that he's made that have come wrong. I mean, he is the oracle of the software and artificial intelligence business. I'm going to believe him when he says this. Now, one of the other names, now NVIDIA is not like super down today comparatively to, a lot of these software names that are down like 10, 15% in some names. You got like Figma out there and ServiceNow and AppLovin and all of these companies that are just getting demolished. Okay. NVIDIA is still above 170. At one point today, it hit 172. It is down 4%. It was brutal being the largest company in the world. But their competitor, AMD, is down 16.5% today. Back down to $200 a share. Absolutely brutal. Okay, and this is getting some worries from the market that maybe NVIDIA is going to end up posting earnings that they don't like. But even then, like, I didn't even think the earnings from AMD were bad. Like, I loved what they ended up showing off. But this is the fears in the market. There's just general concerns across the board. The goal is that, you try not to panic. I'm aware that people are down. If you have cash, you're very happy. Potentially you're looking to buy dips. I don't know if you're ready to buy those dips or not. Maybe some people are holding out, but let's go ahead and have a listen. It's a little bit of a longer video, but it's Lisa Su talking about how AI's pace of adoption is looking to continue to accelerate, and that they are obviously being down 16, nearly 17% right now, going to recover. Quick note as we get into this, I also heard someone say on my last live stream for like the pro members only, that Jensen Huang and Lisa Su, their hairstyles are slowly starting to match each other's, and they're just like, they're going to become and form one person. But anyway, let's go ahead and have a listen.
The reason why is the stock's up very big in the last few weeks, but it's coming off today. And the company beat the estimates. They boosted by exactly what Dave was talking about, which is the booming data center business, but also, and I think we're really going to miss the point, and the analysts missed the point badly, by the CPU business, which is the business that competes against Intel, we got to learn about both of them because the CPU business was completely left out by the analysts. It was kind of pathetic. And that's why I'm glad to have AMD Chair and CEO Lisa Su on the show. Lisa, I'm going to offer you a congratulations because not only are you well ahead of where you told me you would be with GPUs at this time 2 years ago, but you're also killing it when it comes to CPUs. And I think we got to talk on them both. Where are you making the most money now? Where will you make the most money next year at this time?
Well, first of all, Jim, great to be on the show with you guys. Thank you. Look, 2025 was a fantastic year for AMD. We really closed it off strong. And what we see is strength across the entire business, which is really exciting. I mean, obviously, there's a lot of excitement about, data center and AI and what we're doing around GPUs. And that business has performed extremely well. And we're going into a big inflection year here in 2026. But as you were saying, like the CPU business is absolutely on fire. And this is one of those stories where, I've always said, Jim, that you need all kinds of compute when you think about data center and the massive buildouts that we're seeing. And we're seeing just continued strength in the CPU business, which is, really our stronghold right now. So we're very excited about, what we've done, but much more excited about what we have going forward in 2026.
All right, well, let's take off the table the idea that your guidance disappointed. Your guidance was actually pretty consistent with what you've been saying. Second half, I don't know why anyone would think it was going to be second quarter. Am I missing something? Did you tell people that it was going to be second quarter and it turns out to be second half and they're disappointed? Where is the disappointment come in?
Well, let me say something, Jim. When we think about how the compute market is evolving, let me just give you a picture of where the trends are right now in AI. I know there's a lot of conversation, every morning on the show, you guys are talking about where is the AI trade. What I would tell you from someone on the inside is AI is accelerating at a pace that I would not have imagined. So you see, AI demand from the hyperscalers, you see AI demand from enterprises, and what is the foundation of all of that is compute. And so what is really important for us is to ensure that we have the full range of compute. Now, as we go into the first quarter is usually seasonally down for us because we do have some consumer exposure. And I think the most important thing is we're actually seeing our data center business actually increase from Q4 into Q1, which is a show of the strength of the business, both on the CPU side, which is going like gangbusters, and with our AI capabilities and GPUs. We're seeing very nice ramp into the first half of the year, but yes, we're going to have an inflection point as we go into the second half of the year with our new, MI450 series and our Helios rack systems.
But let's talk about that, Lisa, because one of the things that I think is important that people don't understand is that, yes, it's absolutely true that Vera Rubin certainly has some qualities. This is the next generation to be unveiled at GTC, not that far from now. Vera Rubin's got really some terrific stuff, but your stuff, when it comes to memory, is actually bigger and better.
That's absolutely right, Jim. What we're seeing today is because there's so many AI workloads out there, you really have to optimize, and that's optimized for training and optimized for inference. And from our standpoint, we're just seeing an explosion of inference as enterprises are using more and more AI. And that's exactly the sweet spot for our MI450 series and Helios. So we're super excited about how that's coming up. The development is going extremely well, and we're working closely with our customers and the entire supply chain to bring that to market in the second half of the year.
Lisa, I want to just go back to a comment you just made where you said AI is accelerating at a scale I would never have imagined or not have imagined. And I just want to understand that a little more. Not have imagined when? Even recently? And what do you mean when you say it? And, again, this rate of change is so quickly. Is it only going to increase?
Well, David, what I would say is, with every period of time, like if you had asked me 6 months ago, I would say, hey, demand is strong and we're continuing to see good signals from, our top customers. I think when I say that we're seeing an acceleration, I would say in the last 60 to 90 days, we have actually seen an acceleration, particularly when we think about 2026. And, that comes in terms of, demand patterns, forecasts, and just the general feeling like there's not enough compute out there for everything that wants to be done. And you've heard that from a number of our top customers, but I can say that we see that on the inside. There's a desire to ramp compute more quickly. And as we said at the top, it is not only for the GPUs, but we're seeing very, very strong demand for CPUs as a result of all of this AI enterprise work that's going on. There is actually pulling more CPU content, which is a great place for us to be.
No, and we've watched your stock price respond to that as well. Coming back to the rate of change, we've been talking, you probably listened at the top of the show and certainly after yesterday and many days lately about software companies very much concerned perhaps amongst investors about their future business given the tools that we're seeing happen almost every day. How do you view it as somebody who's been in this ecosystem for so many years, Lisa? Should investors be concerned about software companies' ability to compete when Claude or OpenAI can come up with a new tool tomorrow?
I think the real key is what we're seeing with all of these tools, and we're working very closely with the model builders, is that we have to integrate what the AI tools are capable of with our basic development capability. And that's true for hardware guys, that's true for software guys. We have to take the power of the tools and actually, make our products, better, get them to market faster, really, accelerate the rate and pace of innovation. And that's exactly what we're doing. I think the disruption comes from, those who are able to take and harness the power of AI. And the closer that we work between, sort of the largest foundational model guys and, sort of the innovation that we're trying to drive at the engineering level, I think the better the overall product outcome is going to be. And the benefit of that is, frankly, the entire ecosystem, because we're going to accelerate the rate and pace of innovation.
So is all going to be okay with AMD? Stock at the time of that interview was down like 9.6%. Now it's down 16.7%. Like, we're talking about AMD. It was a $300+ billion company. Not long ago, it was $400+ billion company, $201 per share. Not long ago, we were at $267. I think that the build out, we're not seeing really any slowdown here. You can see some of the other names that have recently taken massive hits. Google now down 2.6% on the day, but this one is actually near, all-time highs. There's so much good news coming out from, their model improvements on Gemini. But like, this is still the company that, not long ago, search was dead. The first sort of massive sell-off, the target of that sell-off was this company here that's maybe one of the only remaining software names that people actually believe in. It's hilarious, right? Tesla down 4.2%. Is this not the same company that people said that, SpaceX and XAI, like, we're definitely getting to $8+ trillion of market cap, and, Optimus and full self-driving and all those things are coming true? What, that's going to be all recoded using Claude Opus? What are we talking about here? Nvidia down 4%, Broadcom down 7.2%, Micron down 12.2%, Palantir put up probably the greatest quarter in like stock market history, or at least one of them that I've seen in an extremely long period of time, guiding for like triple-digit plus growth rates into the future. I mean, it's phenomenal how good this company is. It's expensive, okay? Even after all these gains, price to earnings still at 217 times. But it just goes to show you that no company is safe here. Shopify down another 6.7%, $111 per share. SPY only down 1%. Triple Q's down 2.4%. SanDisk down 14.4%. Who knew that Enphase all along was the place to put your money, up 35% today? I honestly, I was talking about this in the earlier stream. Like, I don't know if selling Google might actually be the play. Like, I do believe in Google, but I believe in a lot of names, and I don't know if that's trimming my flowers to water my weeds. If the companies are still the companies that are triple beating, like, I'm not talking about comeback plays or anything along these lines. Like, I'm talking about like just fundamentally extremely strong businesses that are getting sold off on sentiment. Not like JP Morgan had a really good sentence today. They said, here, let's read this out. We are now in an environment where the sector isn't just guilty until proven innocent, but they are now being sentenced before trial. That's what they said about the software names. Like, the market has already decided what is true. Come on now. You know, SoFi down 7.5%, while regional banks and other bank companies, the capital market businesses are actually doing extremely well. Like the JP Morgans and all of this, SoFi gets sold off. SoFi is one of those software, or is one of those bank companies. You know, down 7.5%. As if they're not about to, you know, benefit from the large increase in home loan demand and the fact that they have, you know, a massive increase in capital that they just recently diluted at much higher rates than even, like, both dilution rounds were higher than the price that we are at today. You know what I was thinking? Can you imagine if Anthony Noto just diluted us at $27.50, goes back today, buys back $1.5 billion of stock, actually ends up like arbitraging his own stock and seeing sort of like a $7 a $7 benefit. Thanks, Goldman. You know, he's not going to do that, but like that's the like they have so much flexibility because they're sitting on just a boatload of cash. They can do whatever they want. You know, down 7.3% SoFi is. Google will keep going higher, especially since other businesses will use them for building AI. Will use them for building AI than NVIDIA. NVIDIA chips are expensive, especially for startups. Okay. Total cost of ownership for NVIDIA chips are the lowest out of the entire industry. They're expensive for upfront costs, but then that's why you'd end up going to a company like CoreWeave or Nebius or something like this to rent those GPUs so you don't have to face those upfront costs. That's what cloud computing is for. That's why NVIDIA also gave CoreWeave $6.3 billion backstop to say, hey, you can actually take on, you know, smaller customers that don't have the upfront fees to, you know, go out and pay for those large, you know, large 5-year contracts with, you know, big upfront fees. Okay. And another thing is too, is like, you're not seeing this equal sort of sell-off. So while I do think that Google is going to do well, like people are saying, oh, you know what, like, don't sell Google, it's going to continue to do well. You know what else is going to continue to do well? Palantir. Like, why isn't Palantir staying up with Google? You think that there's like, people are going to Claude Opus 4.5, a new Palantir? Jimmy from IT at the, you know, someone's local small business is going to make their own version of ontology? What are we talking about? I like Google. Of course I like Google. But whenever there's things that are starting to sell off, and those sell-offs can happen, you know, those sell-offs can be very, very real. We're seeing this with like AppLovin and even Figma and stuff like this, like just seeing like, I think they're down like 80+% at this point. Shin says, oh wait, no, sorry, not Shin. Best self-improvement says, Tanner, can you look into SoFi? What does that mean? Like, you want me to do? Hey, I got this cool company you should check out. Thanks, brother. I'll look into it. I'm not selling Google for any other reason, but for my cash needs, just FYI, lol, it's not a knock on Google at all. Parsifal, I agree. I just think like there's a price to be paid for all names, and while I do think that Google will continue to do well, they're growing in like mid-teen percentages. The largest position, or like the largest part of their business, is still search, which you know, might change over time. They're not looking to monetize ads in Gemini. Like they understand the sort of advantage that they have right now, and they can play this slowly. Well, names like Meta and Microsoft end up getting egregiously sold off. NVIDIA egregiously sold off right now. And like, what are you guys saying that these companies are going somewhere? What small business is going to build for them their own social media business. Like it's almost, Meta is almost AI proof, because the strength that Meta has is not even the product, but it's the other customers, right? The product is the fact that the entire world is on their network, right? It's not just like, oh, they have the best, quote unquote, the best social medias. No, it's that all your friends and family are there. And that's why they have like 3.6 billion people. So Elvis, thanks for the 5, brother. Are you the same Elvis that I met at the meetup? Let me know. It's a very small profile picture, but it does look like you. I met so many great people, even Staples. Staples was there too. We ended up taking a photo together. Yeah. Staples, can I show our photo? Do you mind? Okay. Yeah, go for it. Okay, cool. Thanks. Let me just pull that up really quickly. But while I do, is there any potential return here? Starting to see some green candles. I mean, there was a quote here from President Trump, which I thought was great. The market didn't move an inch. But this was back at 10:42 a.m., where he ended up saying that I had just completed an excellent phone call conversation with President Xi of China. It was a long and thorough call where many important subjects were discussed, including trade, military, and the April trip that I'll be making to China, which I am very much looking forward to. We talked about Taiwan, the war between Russia and Ukraine, and the current situation in Iran. The purchase of oil and gas by China from the United States, the consideration by China of the purchase of additional agricultural products, including lifting the soybean count to 200 million tons for the current season. They have committed to 25 million tons for the next season. We talked about airplane engine deliveries and numerous other subjects, all very positive. The relationship with China and my personal relationships with President Xi is an extremely good one, and we both realize how important it is to keep it that way. I believe that there will be many positive results achieved over the next 3 years of my presidency having to do with President Xi and the People's Republic of China. It's a long one. It was a long tweet. Should have warned you guys. But, this type of news is sort of the news that I'm trying to focus on. What are the macro events? Not the sentiment changes in software. Okay? People are too quick to make these decisions on where artificial intelligence is going, even though, the same people that are selling everything off right now didn't even believe in it 18 months ago. Like, it's insane how smart the market thinks it is right now. Like, oh, you guys must be the guys that can see into the future and know which direction software is going. Even though, like, the actual insanely smart people in this field, like Jensen, for example, is saying there's not even a possibility that that's going to be the chance. He said it's like the most illogical argument ever made. Yeah, the SPY is barely down, like I shown on this heat map. There's definitely a rotation into things that might be a little bit, safe from artificial intelligence in a way. This was Staples and me. His name's actually Caleb. And there were so many people at the meetup. Unbelievable. Super cool. Like we see all these people in chat. And I realize I have like 2,500 plus people watching me, but nothing really puts it into perspective. Like whenever I met probably, I don't know, 200 of you guys that watched the show and everything like this that were at that meetup. It was unreal. It was unreal. Super happy to meet you guys. It really did. It was insanely humbling and hard to put into words just how much more of an impact I feel like I'm having trying to calm the market, maybe, well, not calm the market, but calm investors that like this will return. It's okay. This is not the time to panic sell your entire market because you think that everything software is going to go die. Markets will live long, and you'll be happy that you ended up purchasing more shares going forward. If you have the time horizon, if you have the risk tolerance, I'm not saying that, tech is the best place for everyone's money, but it is mine. Okay. And during these times, it's not, I'm not even questioning my investment philosophy. Like, that's not the time to do this. This is, these are high margin, fast moving businesses. And all I'm doing is doubling down on that conviction. And Shopify is so sad, but until it actually shows up in its numbers, find me the numbers where Shopify looks like it's decreasing in its value as a company. Show me that, and then I'll worry about it being one of my largest positions, right? Until then, I'm just taking a big punch on the chin. I almost said a big fat one on the chin, and then I knew that was going to go wrong. I still ended up saying it, so I apologize to the people who are going to clip that or whatever. Don't. Shopify is, here's the thing. Even after the sell-off, Shopify is still expensive, but Shopify is never not expensive. It's like Palantir or Tesla. It's like you find these massive sell-offs, and then you end up looking comparatively to like a Salesforce, and you're like, okay, well, this is still one of the most expensive names in software. It's just not as expensive as it was prior. Okay. What am I buying? I'm buying things that I know very well. So what I feel comfortable looking into are names like SoFi, because I already know, like, I don't think that this is the time, at least for me, to be exploring new ideas. Like, I want to double down on things that I already know, and then I feel confident in their management, in their product, how sticky their products are, and that they are actually defensible around artificial intelligence. I do think some companies will face hard times because of artificial intelligence. I don't think every single company is safe, but names like SoFi, which deals in a lot of capital, I don't think artificial intelligence is replacing their need to give money to somebody for a loan, or like a home loan or a personal loan. That's not going to change. Okay. Robinhood, now down another 10%, $78 stock. It essentially got cut in half from its highs at 150, right? Is this back at the prices that whenever I first purchased it? No. But, has a lot changed fundamentally and become a much bigger and stronger business since then and still looking to grow going forward? Absolutely. And I don't think artificial intelligence is going to change the fact that we need a brokerage. Okay. So Hood's another one that I'm excited to buy. I think that 2026 might be a hard period for them. But I have longer time horizons than 2026. Nebius, I think Nebius is another good one. Everyone's worried about how AI is going to replace all businesses. Where do you think those tokens are going to be spent? Like, what companies are replacing all software? How are they going to buy all these GPUs? Well, clearly they're not. They're not going to go set up data centers, and they're not doing it locally on a Mac. Okay. If you want to replace Salesforce, let alone if you're going to or not, it's going to benefit Nebius. Do you think we're going to a crypto winter? I think it's one of those things like a recession. It's like it's hard to know that you're in one until like I don't think someone realizes that they've actually walked through the door just yet. I think we're deep into a crypto winter. What do we mean? Ethereum, we end up going back and we look at this. We were at 4,900 on Ethereum, almost breaking 5,000. So let's just break out the calculator right now. 49.50 to 21.54. That's a 56% decrease. And then people are saying, when are we going to go into a crypto winter? What? We're down 50, we're down 56%. Into the thick of it, you know, we're there. When is OpenAI going public? I think there was definitely some commentary around them, you know, going public in 2026. I know that there were some rumors that they wanted to do that before Anthropic being sort of like the first mover advantage for retail participation. That might be interesting. Holy smokes, holy cow, holy moly. Guys, yeah, this is painful. And any way you look, you want to take a look at gold, silver, silver back down to 75, actually green, but still a drawdown from where we were this morning. Let's see what else. Nebius. Yeah, guys, come on. I know it's brutal, but these are the times to stay really, really, really solid in your conviction. Double down. Make sure that you guys, well, sorry, I don't mean double down on like buy into names that you've lost the most money in. That's not what I'm meaning. You know, PayPal, I think, might be the greatest example of like, okay, you know, we believed in PayPal, and then we ended up seeing a triple miss across the board, and the stock fell even more. So I'm going to double down. No, that company is showing some unbelievably significant weaknesses. Okay. But there are companies posting triple beats, no weakness at all, but sentiment has changed. Those are the names that I think are the ones that we need to look into investing more in. Right? Will we ever go up again? No, it's just, we just lose 10% a day until it goes down to zero. And then we lose capitalism. No, I mean, I don't know. If there's one great theme that has stuck very true is that the United States markets have been a pretty good place to put capital. And in the short term, anything can happen, just like Peter Lynch. You just have to realize that there's some times where we end up seeing 10, 15, 20% drawdowns. They happen on occasion. And if you end up looking out on a 10, 20-year basis, the markets are more likely than not almost exclusively green. Right? So for me, at least the way that I invest is this is a patience game. And while it sucks to look at the portfolio and see the red, guys, I'm jumping into my portfolio a few times a day just to go, you know what? I'm going to nibble a little bit more and then I'm out. I'm not looking at everything that's red and what I'm losing the most on and beating myself up over the head and saying, oh, but if I had put, this money in at this price that's half the amount, not only would I have double the shares, but I'd also have half the cost basis. So I've made a 4x mistake. Those things, of course, can go through your mind. You need to the mistake has already been made. Okay. You can't beat yourself up over the head over that. If you've made purchases into companies you don't believe in, you thought that someone was going to be dumber than you, and you thought sort of greater fool theory of like, okay, well, I'm not really looking into, XYZ markets, but I just want to invest because this is the hot stock on Wall Street Bets or something like this. I would be fearful too, because you don't know what's actually going to drive the stock up or down going forward. I think these are the types of days where you look to buy quality names, right? Backed by what I believe is real sentiment. Meta, right? The sentiment on Meta is still sold off. I think that this company is still really cheap. Okay, 28 PE. It's like historically cheap versus the S&P 500. Okay, this company is looking to accelerate growth rates above 30+%. They have fortress balance sheet. They're growing into artificial intelligence, so they're trying to future-proof themselves. And yet, what actually makes their business is, that social aspect. The fact that a bunch of humans, which might be verified human identity into the future or something along these lines, are all there. And that's the important part. the models are only going to improve the amount of impressions to advertisements that they can deliver, and then the price that they actually can charge on those advertisements. So that will improve their revenue and EPS going forward. I like those types of names. I'm not really looking and going like, oh, you know what? IonQ is the big, I know they're not really profitable. They're barely even revenue generating right now. A lot of the other names, maybe IonQ is maybe not the name, but like you can pick the very highly speculative investments and potentially say, hey, you know what? D-Wave's down 11%. I'm going to look to invest in D-Wave. I think those are the ones where you can get like stuck for just a little too long. Okay. Hood, also down nearly 10, 11%. Profitable business, growing extremely quickly. The only concerns about this business as well, though, is that they'll be fundamentally tied to how the markets are actually doing. If retail investing starts to slow down, then Robinhood's also going to slow down. So you need a long-term belief in this business. And my belief in this company is that there is a great wealth transfer happening, and that as more and more people, end up passing away and their estates flow down to the younger generation, that those customers are going to be Robinhood customers. And then those, our generation flowing down into the next generation, well, they happen to be the primary company that's working with Trump accounts and trying to secure their future for even the next generation. So I'm very excited about Robinhood over the long term. Palantir down 14%. This is another one. Like what are people worried about? It's too expensive. I agree. Do they put up the greatest numbers in the entire software industry? Yes. And that's honestly not even debatable. Okay. Let's see. How does this compare to Liberation Day last year for tech? Ooh, what's a way that we could look at that? Like maybe SMH or something? To go back and look at SMH versus Liberation Day. Yeah, I'd have to see, like, maybe this is I don't know. From peak to trough during like all the way to April 4th when Liberation Day actually happened, maybe you're looking at about a 32% drawdown versus SMH. And honestly, it's not even down that much. Yeah, this doesn't even really compete. But that's mainly on the semiconductor side, not on just the software side. But you can do those tests with literally whatever ETF that you want. Okay, triple Qs though. Love this. Triple Qs now down 2.1%. Palantir, 75% of contracts are government. Not good. Is it even 75%? I thought that was leaning more towards a little bit bigger balance there. I thought commercial was growing a lot faster than that. But even then, I don't think that's that negative. I don't think we can be that nitpicky with a company that has, net revenue retention at insane rates, revenue, all the margins are increasing. I don't think that you can really be too nitpicky with Palantir here, other than valuation. The government revenue and commercial revenue are literally almost identical. Maybe government is slightly in favor. And similar thing for their contribution to operating income. And now I'm just seeing, can we actually see it broke down on remaining performance obligation? Dude, this company is so freaking crazy. Palantir is nuts. Like, look at this. Net dollar retention now at 139%, which like once you get into like the 140s, you're talking about like the most elite of elite businesses in the world. Right? Government and commercial, this is just what I was sort of looking at, very equal here. Total customer counts growing greatly. I don't see any breakout of like total performance obligations saying that it's more government than commercial, but like, look at this. This is ridiculous. Oh my gosh, 143.3% increase in total remaining performance obligations. This is unreal. So the some of the comments like, no, this is not just Claude. This is more on the Iran situation and everything like this. The only reason why I have a hard time believing that this is more broad-based is that you're not seeing it in all sectors. Like the actual market is not falling that much. This is specifically tech and AI focused. This is a software meltdown, right? Which leads me to believe that this is very focused on the sort of the Claude situation. But it's not even just Claude. It's just like, all models will improve over time. And just like the amount of GPUs that are actually even online right now versus contracted right now means that we're looking to potentially see large increases in these models over time. All right. What else should this company do? Mistakes were made, boys. Your boy is on margin and hanging on by a thread. Increase. Good luck out there, man. Hopefully you get through this storm okay. That sucks. This is why we keep, sort of the, how you say, like risk reward very much in check. I know I obviously don't see the biggest upsides whenever I'm not just writing leaps on every company that I have, but I also like on the downside here, I feel very much protected knowing that I have common shares of everything and that I don't have expiries on companies that I believe are growth companies and still continuing to take market share each and every quarter. Those are like, at the end of the day, you can remain extremely calm if you just know that like total addressable markets are going to continue to grow and you're taking more market share. Now, I know that that's up for debate right now if software total addressable market is going to shrink or decline, but I've seen no evidence of it. It's all just feelings. And the same feelings that were being had whenever Google ended up getting dropped down to, $90, even $140 at the next sort of pop here. Let's go ahead and take a look at Google. So, this ended up dragging this company down into early 80s because ChatGPT was taking market share. And, there was a ton of anecdotal evidence saying like, hey, you know what? None of the people around me use Google. Boy, oh boy, was that wrong. And then, ChatGPT, Atlas and Perplexity, all that was happening. Perplexity put out that bid that was worth twice their own company's value to buy Google Chrome. Like the news back then was terrible for Google, right? We were seeing massive sell-offs. Now it's one of the only software names that's actually holding up quite well. And even this name's down 2%. Okay. Do I still have a position in BM&R? Absolutely. But it's very much getting just destroyed. Here's the thing. Well, I believe that Tom Lee has lost a lot of respect from his, price target point of view and everything along these lines. By the way, my position in BM&R is unbelievably small. Okay, under 2%. Probably after this recent sell-off, probably under 1.5% of my entire portfolio. So it's a tiny name. But Tom Lee, I think, is losing a lot of respect in the industry. But that doesn't change my opinion of how I feel about Ethereum. Okay, we're not seeing any change there in terms of like some new technology. Like even the sort of the use cases for artificial intelligence through agentic commerce and everything is all expected to use cryptocurrency, and I think that that's going to be built on Ethereum rails. Like I think the use cases for Ethereum could not just like, oh, it's going to go up by 30% a year. No, I think the opportunity could be a 10x, a 50x. And with that, we'll end up, more transactions on Ethereum means more potential gas fees, which then end up driving more buybacks on Ethereum. So I'm not looking to even add to BM&R right here because I don't think that we buy into these companies that are extremely speculative. This is a weed in my portfolio. Okay. I'm not looking to water those weeds. I'm looking to water the flowers, and the flowers are the quality tech names that I still believe in, even in a very real artificial intelligence world. People are selling off NVIDIA right now on the idea that software is going to get eaten. How does that make any sense? But it's just a broad sell-off. People are just like now, they're getting worried about software. They start worrying about just the general markets. People are trying to rotate into different sectors. I just think that's not the way to go at all. Anyway, I don't think that this will last long. And by long, I don't mean that this can't last for 2 quarters, but I don't think we're actually going to see a market sell-off through all the way through 2026. So we have earnings. We'll see how those earnings correlate to real numbers. But yeah. Bro, you are so wrong calling BM&R a wheat. Dude, it's down like you don't even have to judge it based on like it went from 60 down to 20 and they don't make $1 and they stake a little bit, but like all the reasons for BM&R versus Ethereum have been completely eroded. They're below MNAV. It's just my opinion. It do be a weed. It's a weed with thorns. Yeah. That's funny. We're in the good news equals bad news market again. Get that dry powder ready to deploy. Dude, I got no dry powder. I'm like, it's wait for payday season or trim some names that potentially are holding up better than others. Like, I do think that is a real strategy in the portfolio of like, what's a reason to sell whenever you can sell a cheap name for a cheaper name, but you better be damn sure that that's, like your conviction is solid there. You can't be selling your names to buy other names that might be cheaper and be ignorant in those companies' advantages. Like for me, I know everyone's talking about Zeta. It's like I would not be looking to buy Zeta here. For real, like 80% of the people that I see buying Zeta can't tell me what they do. So, how is Zeta doing, by the way? Last I checked, it was like $17, $16.97. Yeah. And then TSM down 4%. Throw up all the papers. Yeah, I saw Roy in chat. Where's Roy? What a time to be alive. Crazy. Clawbot uses, isn't it called like Moltbot now? Uses Base. Yeah, that's Coinbase's own L2. Yeah, I completely agree that not opening up your brokerage might be the way to go. Okay. Will Google save us? Well, I do think earnings in general is, one of the potential catalysts that actually can bring markets back, from the dead. Like not only earnings, but we get to hear from the smartest investors or the smartest capital allocators of all time. Analysts don't set the stage for what people believe in the markets, like, sorry, but that's not how it works. They're essentially just relaying to their clients what, Sundar is going to say. It's Sundar that sets the stage. Maybe above Sundar might be Jerome Powell and Donald Trump and, people like that actually are like they're setting the macro. Then hopefully individual companies also, large, big tech companies will then be a big factor there, but maybe not as big. But essentially we end up seeing Google, Qualcomm, ARM, Elf, Snapchat. Snapchat's going to sink the market. No, I don't know that to be true. But a lot of companies are going to end up showing off earnings today. That's always a great place to be, right? That's awesome. That can always turn markets around. Tomorrow morning, we end up seeing like Shell, Estee Lauder, Hershey. Then after that, in the close, Amazon, Reddit, Iren, MicroStrategy, or just Strategy, I should say now, Roblox, Fortinet, Affirm, Bloom Energy. Hopefully Bloom Energy doesn't blow the market up. Maybe earnings isn't good. I mean, whenever you see some of these high-flying names that are about to show earnings, unless like it's been like similar to the memory names, which could happen. Like maybe they just end up showing off unbelievable results and the pump keeps on pumping. But boy, oh boy, still scary stuff. Okay. Yeah, the Nebius sell-off is crazy. Or even like CoreWeave, for example. CoreWeave down 8.3%. Like, were we not convinced by NVIDIA essentially saying that they're going to backstop them at every turn? I don't have any memory names in the portfolio, no. No, but by far my largest position is NVIDIA, which is essentially, the big way to play the AI space, I think, one of the safer, more broad-based plays. Iren. I don't hold Iren. Iren down 18. All right. Iren down 18%. Now, I would still look, for me personally, I'm just saying for my own convictions, I like Nebius and CoreWeave way more. Okay. You get so much size diversification. I'm not really, I've just seen too many red flags with Iren in terms of the way that the deal was structured with Microsoft and how they rank from Dylan Patel's company, Semi-Analysis, that I don't really have a reason to look into those names, considering that we have similar products coming out of Nebius and CoreWeave, and I just, believe in the management and stuff much better there. So those are the names that I'll be buying. But yeah, I like Nebius and CoreWeave. Bought more CoreWeave. Cool. I'd stay away from anything crypto related. I find that crypto is definitely it's a like you have to be interested in that kind of flavor. So I would never try to sell someone on crypto because the volatility is absolutely there. But I do think that there's sort of a broad adoption that's happening. I think Clarity Act and all the things that we're seeing there are quite exciting. But then we also know that like Bitcoin and Ethereum just go in 4-year cycles, and we're right at that crappy part of that 4-year cycle. So it's like, if it's going to sell off 50+%, 60, 70, I mean, that's happened more than 5+ times in their history. just happening again. Crypto is a scam. Well, I think that you could maybe put up the defense for certain cryptocurrencies, but I think that like Ethereum, whenever you just look at like or Solana, there's a bunch of them. There are just technological advancements. You know, if you look at them like a technology company rather than some sort of new asset class, you would think of them as having a competitive advantage versus their peers, right? More secure, much cheaper, faster. Over time, you know, apps will be built on those services. I believe that more than anything. Yeah, scam advancements. Yeah, advancements to make more scams. Duh. I think it's like early internet, right? Like whenever you talk about the amount of quick money grabs and pets.com, like all the sort of things that ended up trying to become a thing back whenever the internet first started, it was the wild, wild west. I think that, you know what, that's the exact same thing of what we're seeing here. It's the complete wild west is what crypto is, but there will be real products that are built on top of those. I think that's the exact same reason why you're seeing JP Morgan end up talking about, you know, tokenizing everything. Larry Fink talk about tokenizing everything. Why? These are some of the most powerful people on earth. Why would they ever do that? Okay. Andreas, if you had to buy only one, would you buy Nebius or CoreWeave? Why? I personally like Nebius more, ever so slightly, just purely based on valuation. So there's companies that Nebius has good shares in. Look at Toloka, Triple 10, AV Ride, most importantly, ClickHouse, right? That make up for such a large share of their overall market cap today and are not even really a part of the bull case of Nebius. Like that's not even part of the buying GPUs and deploying them for customers to rent and create the Nebius cloud. That's not even part of that situation. Yet ClickHouse just recently had a valuation raise since May of 2025 to January of 2026, essentially bringing their total share of ClickHouse, or the valuation, from $1.2 billion to $4.2 billion. The total company being essentially valued at $15 billion, Nebius having about a 27% of that overall company. The company today, Nebius, is a $20 billion market cap. So you're telling me that this company that's growing, by the way, way faster than CoreWeave, not because they're, you know, much better at what they do, but just based on pure size, Nebius is much smaller. But Nebius is growing at, you know, 400+% on the Nebius side, 355% for Nebius Group, all the companies together. You know, a large percentage of their market cap is made up of those subsidiaries. And then the cloud, I think, is worth so much, especially in this advent of Claude and OpenAI and all of these companies like selling off software, is because AI is real. And then what? You're going to sell off Nebius for that same reason? Doesn't make any sense to me. Yeah, it could be growing. Yeah, no, exactly. Like the expectation for growth is that they end up getting to like $7 to $9 billion in annualized run rate by December of 2026. So on a monthly basis, they need to essentially make 1/12 of $8 billion. We're nowhere near that. You know, so they're going to be growing a lot. But I also like CoreWeave as well. I do. Like they just have such an unbelievably strong relationship with the largest company in the world. You know, at every turn, at every mistake that CoreWeave has, NVIDIA's there to essentially back them as being a proxy for NVIDIA. So I like CoreWeave as well. Thank you though for the dono. Okay, let's see. I full ported Duolingo. Should I be fine, guys? You know, be careful. Why this sell-off? It can't just be Anthropic. I mean, I think fear spreads. you know, I think somebody ends up seeing a smart investor that sells off, and then they go, oh my gosh, you know, if they believe that it's selling off, then it must be true. And then this ends up spiraling, and then the fears just end up compounding on each other. And like, so I don't think like saying anthropic is the right way of saying it, but AI in general could be the broad reason for this sell-off. How does this compare to Liberation Day? We talked about that. I'm panicking not because I want to sell, but because I wish I had more money to buy the dip. That's always, yep, 100%. Starbucks sugar-free vanilla protein latte hot. Dude, I'll do it. Thank you so much. I've tried the protein lattes. They're tasty stuff. Do you think Fiserv will bounce to fair value? Unfortunately, I don't really have too much of a you know, thought on Fiserv. But I think it's one of those companies where I would sort of say, hey, you know what? I would potentially buy the companies that are like are showing massive increases in their companies, not these companies that are like deep value plays. That's the way that I like to play the market. I think it's sort of the approach that Warren Buffett used to have versus the approach that he has now. Well, he's retired, but Berkshire Hathaway, which is like, you know, the cigar butt approach of like, okay, well, is there assets left in Fiserv today that's worth more than what you could potentially pay for the company? To me, I don't care. I'm not looking to make money on every single name, or I don't have to swing on every name. So I'm just gonna I can't answer that for Fiserv, so I'm not even going to participate. Whereas a name that might be in a similar space like dLocal or something like this, payments, everything like this, is growing at insane, like 60+% rates, taking market share in every single category that they're in. Margins are improving. They're expanding to different geographies, and it's also extremely cheap. Forget about it. Okay. I'd rather just double down on what's working rather than what's not. dLocal down 2.3% here. Market cap, $3.8 billion. It's by far one of the smaller names in the portfolio for sure. John, I saw that as well. Oh wait, chat's not on screen. Saw that as well. Shift 4 is green, up 4.8%. Maybe people are just looking at this, might be a little too cheap. Market cap of $5 billion. Plus debt and everything. I mean, they have net debt. But I think enterprise value for this company is something like $8 billion. SoFi still selling off? No. Okay. We did not break 20. Is this going to be a little resistance line for us? AT&T to partner with Amazon Low Earth Orbit. To modernize U.S. connectivity infrastructure, AT&T will migrate workloads to AWS Outposts, deploy high-capacity fiber to connect AWS data centers, and work with Amazon Leo, which is the Low Earth Orbit, to extend the reach of AT&T's networks to underserved areas. Very cool report from AWS here. That was right in the morning. Okay. Let's see what else. AMD's Lisa Su said that the company is ready to scale its AI business to tens of billions of dollars in revenue by 2027. Tens of billions. For real, dude, like the market's not even remotely pricing in if this stuff comes true. They're just not even believers. Thoughts on Axon going forward? I like Axon. Another one of those names that I think is expensive, but like it's not expensive based on trust. It's based on what we've seen so far. Like the numbers are just unbelievable. And I think that more artificial intelligence, more robotics, drones, all of that sort of technology only goes to further their sort of product. What do you call it? Product suite. So yeah, I like Axon. The only thing that I question about Axon is like if defund the police or something like this, like those sort of problems persist, New York's a very big space for Axon. If there's other cities that end up getting, more individuals that think very similarly to those types of things, whether or not they're the right ways to think, I'm not suggesting that, but it would make it that Axon might not be the greatest investment. It, of course, is very expensive software, and if you're Donnie maybe looking to cut back on some expenses, that might not be the greatest stock to play. That might be one of my sort of concerns there. Okay. Let's see. Can you tell me I am can you tell me I'm scum while I look at my portfolio? You're into yeah, I mean, if you're into some sort of financial pain sort of kink, today's your day. This sucks, man. Hood down 10.6%. But this is why we stay calm, honestly. These are stay calm sort of moments. People forget how good Q3 was for Hood. I think people are more focused on what I do think is funny is like people I think do forget about the fact that they're going to continue to create new products. Like Robinhood has their first product event of 2026. Every product event of last year ended up exploding their total addressable market. If you end up looking back on the year that we had in 2025, it essentially was like, here, wait, the stock almost like 100 plus like more than doubled based on a lot of the new products and their innovations that they ended up coming out with and their success in the markets. Even if markets are not that great, I think Hood will be able to squeeze out more products. So on March 4th, they have a product, event called Take Flight. Some people said that there's going to be, travel points and stuff like this through trading. I mean, that might be a possibility. Some quotes that they ended up saying while promoting this to people who ended up receiving the invite said, "See our new first-class products. Vlad Tenev will give you a look into our newest products, which aim to help you in any generation in your family navigate towards financial goals." So maybe there's some sort of, for real, like more broad-based family-like products. They said first-class products, so maybe more stuff for concierge products. But yeah, it is bleeding. SoFi $1 billion in net profit in 2026. I need to do the math. Yeah, what are they calling for right now? 825 million, something like that. Are you in Hood? Absolutely. I love Hood. Love this company. I've interviewed the CEO a few times on the channel. Yeah. Okay. It sounds like 2 to 3 different products will be mentioned. You know what's so funny? I completely agree with you, but this happens. They announce 2 to 3 products quarterly throughout the year, practically. And none of these products are just like slapped on. Like they're always great products. I'll have to, get to interview him again Friday. No, I've got nothing set up with Vlad or anything like that. Why is Google and Microsoft so low right now? Well, I don't know why Google. I wouldn't even suggest that Google is that low right now. We ended up hitting like all-time highs, like really, really recently. Microsoft, however, I think people are looking at as a little bit of a software name, maybe the biggest SaaS name. Would you swap Novo into Hood? I don't know anything about Novo Nordisk. I do not cover any health or medical names at all. At all. So I can't give any opinion on that. Look at the names that are working, though. Eli Lilly, Cirrus Logic, Navan, Global Payments, Shift4. Crazy seeing Shift4 as one of the names that are working. Workday as one of the names that are working. So funny. But they also have just been getting completely sold off from their highs, down 42%, looks like. Silver, maybe a slight recovery today, up 2%. You should look into biotech, Tanner. No. Too many quick changes. I don't know anything about the industry. I don't think it's an easy one to look into. Yeah. Shop, please. Yeah, we can take a look at Shopify. 112 down 5.8%. Personally, I don't think this company is going anywhere. There's a free cash flow giant. If you guys don't know, this is one of my biggest positions. I have more money in Shopify than I do in SoFi, even after this, decrease. So I love Shopify. Do I think that artificial intelligence is going to corrupt their business model? Not even a little bit. I think that they're going to be big beneficiaries in this market. What about sauna names? Yeah, I follow the sauna market closely. SoFi's getting obliterated. I know they should buy back. They should take their dilutive, like everything that they diluted with, $1.6 billion recently. They should go buy $1.6 billion of stock. Not actually, but I'm just saying that's how much we're sold off, that like that would actually be accretive to shareholders once again. eToro, what's eToro at? I assume that we're under one, or I was going to say 30. 27, $2.26 billion. This is actually a great clip. The Trump pulling out just a little bit of cash. Just buying your last, just one more dip to see if you got enough. That's how it feels like right now. Holy. Okay. Big fan. Dump my Zeta shares into Palantir. Palantir at 137 is wild. Yeah, I'm not trying to create any sort of hate train or anything on Zeta. I mean, Zeta is going to do fine, but in these types of markets, you want to know what you hold. I think that's the sort of main theme that I'd like to push. I think a lot of people thought that they knew what they were holding back whenever the trade desk was the Wall Street darling of advertisements. And then, in 3 quarters, it became an unbelievable nightmare. But if you have a long time horizon, I think, honestly, it's very, can you get a bigger dip on Palantir? Maybe. And I think that's what a lot of investors are sort of, pushing. But whenever you talk about quality software names, you're probably thinking about the best ones. I don't have much to say about Pinterest. I apologize. The ads business in general, I think, is an interesting one, and that I think AI is only going to further advertising. But there will be winners and losers. I think execution is extremely important. That's why I'm not looking to buy just the cheapest ad names. For example, what was it? Snapchat. Don't care. In terms of the amount of customers that they have on their platform to their potential, it might literally be one of the cheapest ad names in the world. But whenever you talk about execution versus other businesses, they are Yuck. Not a fan. Can they turn it around? Yeah, maybe. Like, I'm not suggesting that Snapchat is bad, but like, I just like, it's much easier to just pick the companies that have been winners and will continue to win over time than it is to pick a company that might be a turnaround play with no change in management or something like this. Capital One's cool. I'm not mad at Capital One. If there is any changes in the 10% credit card caps, maybe that is just midterm jargon and they're just going to use that to, like, Trump's just using that for a little bit and then we'll kind of drop it. Maybe. But if he sticks on that and really does try to go for 10% caps on credit cards, Capital One's going to be a nightmare place for capital. No, I do not like any leveraged ETFs, no 2x leveraged ETFs. There's other ways to get levered up if that's what you're looking to do. I do not believe in the 2x ETFs at all. I just had a buddy of mine text me to say, when are you going live today? I'm live, bro. Okay. NVIDIA 173 is kind of insane. I agree with you. Apple up 2%. It's always the flight to safety in these names. Even Microsoft having not so bad of a day, which is nice, staying above $3 trillion. Amazon down 2.6. Alphabet down 2.9. Meta down 3.1. NVIDIA down 3.3%. And Tesla, not even SpaceX and XAI can save them from this sell-off, down 4.5%. What a time. Tanner, I was starstruck and overwhelmed, but nice meeting you. I'm having a hard time with your username to tie you to who potentially you could be. So let me know your name or something. But it was great meeting everyone. It was unbelievable. Please DM me, like on X or something, your pictures. If we ended up taking pictures together, no one felt starstruck to me. I'm just a guy. It was so much fun. I'm going to do my own meetup, I think, probably this year in Toronto, probably in August or something. This is Spencer and I. That was a ton of fun. Spencer, great meeting you, brother. Some of you guys have unbelievable portfolios. Like, I was actually like, just, it's great to just listen and hear people's takes on certain names. Tanner's more jacked in person. I didn't have to read that one out loud. That was a little bit of a brag. I wanted people to know. You caught me. Okay. You going to the LA meetup? I'm not sure. Parsifal, dude, I would love, like, so I think maybe I'm learning a lot from Amit and Jess and everything, so I'll probably look to do a similar thing. You know, there's been some people that have essentially helped shape this entire community. Parsifal is probably, you know, one of the newer people that have actually come in and like helped, but has quickly risen to the top in terms of people that I actually like look to in terms of their advice and be like, wow, this dude is in chat, but he's putting some incredible due diligence down, helps me think about stocks, clear head. I couldn't believe there were a couple people that I met during that meetup too in New York City where I'm like just the brain share, like, how do I say this? Like, every idea that they had, I could completely subscribe to. And not only that, they ended up bringing new ideas that I just hadn't thought of that were so unbelievable to sort of get to know these people and listen to. So, but Parsifal, the reason why I'm highlighting you really quick, not only has it been great to know you over text, but I'd love to get to know you in person. And hopefully we can do some sort of like mod dinner or something like this and actually get to sit down. That'd be awesome, man. Where can we find their takes? Well, I think, it comes through in some of my new messaging. It shapes the way that I think. But honestly, that's sort of what I got from a lot of this. Like some of these people, I'm like, man, these guys should be posting online. like they're very smart people. Yeah. Okay. Chat will crash the mod dinner. I mean, that might be fine too. I don't think that my meetup's going to be anything like a Mids meetup. We're trying to build a good community here, but I got ways to go. Okay. Let's see. What are some other names here? I will be live, by the way, for Google. Yeah, let me check. Am I doing that with Amit, by the way? I might just be going live with all the guys. I think that's what we're doing. Okay. But yeah, I'll be going live on with Google regardless, but depending I might be doing it separately or not. He did invite me already. It's just a matter of when he starts. If he's starting at 3:45, I'm happy to join. If he's starting like super, super early, I might not be able to even go live that early. Sometimes with the really big live streams, he likes to go really early, and Google's definitely one of them. Okay. Short guys try to make money quicker. What are you talking about? Let's see. Let's have a look at some of the themes, and then we'll get going. Triple Qs, the NASDAQ 100 composite, down 2%, maybe a little bottom, hit roughly 600. Maybe we're coming back. Who knows? Tomorrow's another day. I'll be live once again. SPY down 0.6, also recovering. Where's Bitcoin and Ethereum? Are these also recovering? Maybe not. Coming back down 73,000 on Bitcoin, dude. We're talking about Bitcoin at like almost touching 130,000. Now it's at 73,000. People are wondering when it's going to enter bear market or crypto winter. It's like, what does this feel like to you? PayPal for me, honestly, straight up dead money. And I'm not saying that is going to be the case, but it's a lot easier to buy a company that's slightly growing and buying back the rest of the company than it is to buy a company that is starting to get into, slight declines into their business. Because right now it might be slight declines, and then maybe next year they end up guiding what could be a miss into large digit declines. Right? It could potentially be a buyout, but I don't really buy the companies to hope that almost sounds like a little bit of greater fool theory. It's like, yeah, I know I'm buying this stupid company, but someone dumber than me is going to buy this whole thing. It's like, I don't want that. I do think it's a possible acquisition target, but I don't like that. That could be 2 years from now. I do hold direct crypto. Bitcoin, Ethereum, Solana. I hold all three. Palantir to the moon. Is that coming back? Ooh. Hardware holding up better than software. It is so funny, right? There used to be a time where everyone would fade hardware and then just say, hey, software is the names. Like that's where you need to be as an investor. But this is another one of those lessons where it's like, themes can be very, very large and broad based, but it's not necessarily it's the only way to invest. It's not like everyone investing in tech is smart and everyone investing in industrials and regional banks and everything is dumb. Until the next bull market. No, I'm kidding. Okay. Change the subject. What's your favorite pre-workout and protein? You know what's funny? I'm lactose intolerant, so I take a pea protein. I think it's Vega, which I know is so like clearly don't wear the pants in the relationship if you're having Vega. No, but I don't do pre-workout. Supplements. Well, yeah, I take a few vitamins. But B composite, omega-3, vitamin D's, and just a multivitamin as well. Nothing crazy. Not pea protein, dude. That's gross. PEA. Not like the Zuckerberg PP time thing. Y'all are weird, man. I'm telling you. But I just find that the whey protein, like the whey isolate, can be kind of hard on my stomach. But a lot of my actual protein that I get in is just try to be from, chicken and beef, stuff like this. No creatine, not for me. I'm not anti it. I mean, I've seen the studies. It looks good. But it's, haven't really seen a need to do it. I'm not looking to get huge or anything along those lines. Honestly, the reason why I'm working out is for longevity. So I want a clear brain. I want to stay focused. So I work out and run to try to just have the overall fitness level, good VO2 max, live long, wake up without pain in my neck and back. I think that's the reason to work out. I mean, if I was single, it'd be for a completely different reason. But I've been in a relationship for 8 years now, or we're on our 8th year. For real, have you seen my mustache? I do not care at all what I look like. Look at me right now, dude. So I've already secured the female. I got her. So I'm good now. Now it's time for me to live. Okay. Creatine has cognitive benefits. I only heard that it has cognitive benefits for sleep like my understanding was that it has sleep deprivation benefits. And I, for the most part, don't feel like I'm often sleep deprived. Can't get too comfortable. Well, too late, brother. I was literally sitting with Matt Money. By the way, there were like a couple people that I had met that like had made the entire event for me in New York. Matt Money was absolutely up on that list. Very, very high on that list, if not the highest. Absolutely unbelievable dude. Love the way that he thinks about his, the world around him. I don't even remember what was the question? Maybe I am sleep deprived. What the heck just is going on? Why did I start talking about Matt Money? What was I saying? I don't. That sucks, dude. All right. Yeah, you guys can go ahead and unsubscribe. I'm what I liked about it. No, it's something about health or something like this. Anyway. And then we follow this guy. I know. I literally just was like, I was just started to think about Matt. But there was something that I was talking about with Matt, like the way that he was, some ideas that he had that made me, that brought him up in my head in the first place. Yeah, I'm going to start taking creatine right now. JP Morgan sold 17 million shares. Okay, wait, let me check the market, see if there's anything new before I go. Let's see. I think Warsh understands that I want lower rates. He wouldn't have gotten the job if I said if he said he wanted to raise rates, Trump said. Trump just said Iran's supreme leader should be very worried right now. Okay. Let's see. Ray. What's up, brother? Meeting Ray and Michelle and everyone was super great. Who all did you see for the first time? Only Matt. I've seen everyone else before. Steve, Chris, Tevis, Amit. This is like my 8th time seeing Amit now. I mean, it's funny. And then the one, like there was photos that Ray was taking with his Polaroid. And of course, the one that he took with me ended up while I was doing a quick speech was Amit just towering over top of me. And I was like, this is, it's reminiscent of how I look up to him. But it makes me upset that like you don't see the chair that he was standing on. It just makes him look tall. And I'm like, boy, oh boy, does that make me upset. People need to know how short he is and the size of the boosts in his shoes. Gosh. Amit isn't as short as I expected. Well, don't say nice things, dude. I'm not here to share the positivity of the whole thing. I gotta, I'm keeping him humble here. Okay. I remember, I don't remember their names. I know one of their names was Eddie, but there were these two unbelievably tall people. Anyone that was at the event knows exactly. There was a Viking that came to the event, and I wish I remember his name. And we shook hands, and he said, "Hey, I like your SoFi coverage." And I was like, "All right." I'm glad you didn't say like, "Hey, why is it down?" Like I was like, I thought he was going to shove me into a locker because the meeting was right after the earnings sell-off. Right now, if we did the meetup and SoFi's at $20, I mean, I would have got shaken for all my money. It would have flipped me upside down. Dude was for real, like 6'9", probably like 310 pounds. He looked like an NFL player and was like, "Hey, I like your SoFi coverage." I was like, "Thank you." Don't hurt me. You would have needed security. He was security. He was bigger than Irwin. Irwin was huge, but wasn't even nearly as big as those guys. Did he tell you that he had security? It was the craziest part. I met with Matt Money and we were looking over and he's like, "Oh, this is our security." And I was like, "Ha." And he's like, "No, this is our security." I was like, "Okay, holy." Yeah, we had security and got brought out the back door of the event to get into like these black Escalades to take us to dinner. It was like, talk about making you feel like someone important. Check JP Morgan amended 13G on SoFi. Did they end up selling? Someone just said that they sold 17 million shares or something of SoFi. I mean, yeah, someone has to be a seller. The company just went from $32 down to $20. So I'm not surprised that there are sellers. It's not that they needed security for like anyone that they thought was like going to be a real concern. It was more along the lines of my understanding of the last event is that there was just like a ton of people rushing into the building and they had no idea. Like people didn't even know what the event was about. So there's a big lineup outside of the actual restaurant, which, you know, they didn't want to do. They were just taking time to like find everyone's name and give them wristbands and everything. But yeah. So they were just trying to keep the people out that didn't, like, just thought that it was, you know, the restaurant was not open that day for everyone. Elf has earnings today, right? Elf starting to climb. I'm telling you, if it's not software, there's no fear. Like the fear is in tech right now. Yeah, JP Morgan decreased SoFi shares from 65 million to 47 million. Yeah, I mean, someone's selling here. I don't even think that's surprising. When your favorite FinTwit account shows up with security seller, that is the top signal for sure. I did not set this up, guys. Okay. I think this was a complete change from the last time, and just realizing that like Amit is going to be going from a moment of like, hey, let's chill, to like, even in this part, they were like sort of taking people out in groups to have conversations, because everyone, you know, that went there was sort of like, you know, paid to be there and everything. And not because Amit was looking to make any money. He lost money on that event. I think like a few $1,000 or something. So it had nothing to do with the money for him. It was just like everything costed money. But what was I going to say? But if you're going and you're going for Amit, you want to have some time with Amit. So he wasn't even like in the main event. The entire time he was just doing these rounds. I had the freedom to just walk around and talk to whoever I wanted. He was working. Can you guys stomach a 10% correction over the next few weeks? I sure can. Absolutely. Now, if we do see a 10% correction, even though the S&P is down like 8+% or whatever, or sorry, 2+% right now, from the all-time highs, is it going to be still in tech, or do you think it'll be more broad-based? Because I think in order to get to a 10% correction, it'll need to be more broad-based. A lot of the tech names are already so sold off. They can't go to zero. Like, what, are you going to put 95% discounts on ServiceNow? Like, how low are we going? Yeah, it literally was shoulder to shoulder for 3 hours. But it was fun. It was great. And hopefully no one got sick. Like, I'm fine. Like, I don't think anyone I didn't hear of anyone getting sick. I don't think Amit's sick or anything like this. I know Steve took a day off, but that's because he lost his voice, because the music was loud too. We were screaming. Maybe just from talking. Yeah. Prediction on Google earnings. Actually, I think that's a good place for me to wrap up, because I would like to run some numbers. I have not actually made some predictions on Google earnings. So that's something that I actually need to do. I'll be live for Google, but I want to make sure that I read as much as I can before earnings. And my understanding is AWS channel checks were really, really good for their cloud. Microsoft was the slightest of misses on Azure, even though it grew at 38%. Google is still gonna hinge on their cloud growth as well. So, yeah. All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you all so much for watching. Hopefully you guys are staying calm out there. It's crazy, but I promise you we'll see green grass on the other side eventually. I don't know when, but all we can do is continue to monitor the markets and try to buy the dips and on things that we really believe in over time. Thank you all so much for watching. Really do appreciate your time. But bye for now.